Hey, welcome back to the show. The show's called Your Money, Your Wealth. We're helping you get through that journey of retirement planning. Go to our website, yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on our favorite guide, the Retirement Readiness Guide. Are you ready for retirement? Doesn't matter what age you're at, because we got strategies for every decade. Yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that special offer, our Retirement Readiness Guide. Let's see how you did on that true-false question.
As we age, our composition of wealth should shift from human capital to financial capital. True or false? Well, I guess we should kind of define. Human capital is kind of like that lifetime earnings, the income, cumulative, right? And the actual capital itself, the financial capital, are the dollars that you've saved. So Joe, typically over time, human capital is higher to start and financial capital is higher towards the back.
A lot of people at 25 don't have a lot of cash on hand, but what do? They have that human capital to earn an income and to save some of that income, to have that income compound over time. So then at some point, I don't want to use my human capital anymore to necessarily generate income. I want to use my human capital to have fun or volunteer or do different things where I'm not relying on a paycheck, because I've saved dollars that will provide that income for me.
Yeah, so I think a way to think about investing is you can afford to take a little bit more risk when you're younger versus you're older. Maybe it's almost all stocks when you're in your 20s and 30s. Then maybe in your 40s you start shifting a little bit, maybe a little bit more safety, right? 50s and 60s, even more. Now the actual allocation that you end up between stocks and bonds, again, bonds being safer, stocks being more aggressive, bonds having less a rate of return, stocks having a higher rate of return, but more volatile, right? The way to think about this is it depends upon your own needs. We've seen people, Joe, sometimes that are older and they're still all stocks because it's for their kids and grandkids, and sometimes we see people in their 40s with all safety because they've got enough money to live.
Right. So you get 90 to 100% in stocks here. So you're going to see your account kind of do this, right? So it's going to probably trend up over that time period, but you're going to have some dips, you're going to have some highs, you're going to have some lows, and it's a pretty big roller coaster. And then as you age, right, well, now I want a little bit more safety in here, and what that does is just kind of even out that roller coaster ride just a little bit. And then when you hit your 50s and 60s, you probably want a lot more green, because this is where you'll be pulling dollars from. So when the markets are down, right, well, bonds should be fairly stable to help you create that income, so you're not selling stocks when they're down. So each allocation has to be representative of what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish. As Al said, we've seen people that are in their 80s with a 100% stock portfolio because it's for their kids or their grandkids. So mapping out your overall strategy is the first step, and then you can look at how that portfolio should be allocated. Let's go in your 30s. What should we be thinking about, or what should you be doing? All right, beginning savings is at $30,000, because we started at 20 is saved here. Now you have $30,000. Your salary increased a little bit. Now we're making $50,000. So at the end here, at 40, I need $150,000. So how do I grow that 30,000 into 150 if I receive a 6% growth rate? Well, I need to save $600 a month. Right, so that's 14%. So that's a little rich. A lot of times people can't get that much savings, but if you want to follow the math of what we're illustrating here, that's as much to get that 3 times. 150,000, 50,000 of income at the end of your 30s to get you still on track, Al.
Yeah, and as you'll recall, so the last example in our 20s, you had to save $190 per month. Now you're making more money. Now you've got to save more to keep on track. Like we talked about, your salary goes up. You got to save more to hit some of these targets. But something to think about in your 30s, maybe you've started your emergency fund, Joe, but make sure you continue. Get up to that 3 or 6 months of expenses in the emergency fund.
Yeah, as you age, then things get a little bit more complex too. All right, well, here, maybe you want to save for your first home, or you have a couple of kiddos and you want to save for their college. Now you need some life insurance because you have a family, and now you have a home and you have a mortgage and everything else. So as you age, it gets a little bit more complex. because there's a lot more plates that you're kind of spinning here that paycheck has to fund.
Well, it does, and a lot of people start to have problems in their late 30s and 40s just because they have kids, they buy a house, and there starts to be a lot more expense as it gets a little bit more tricky. But Joe, let's go over an example. So now you're 40, now what do you need to do to get to where you need to be for 50?
Yeah, so now we have the 150,000. Income went up again. Now I'm making $80,000. So I have to get 6 times. That's the goal. 6 times that 80,000. Get to $480,000. So 20% of my income is what I need to be saving to hit my goal.
So you're telling me you got to increase the savings. Well, you got to do college funds, right? And by the way, you got kids. They're teenage kids. They eat a lot, right? Sports. They're kind of expensive. This is the hard part. This is the tricky part, right? That's why we're going to get into the 50s in a minute, right? And we talk about catching up. But when you're in your 40s, Joe, keep saving to the best that you can.
So then it's really assessing your risk. What does that portfolio look like? What target rate of return? You can dial this thing in a little bit more specific to your needs. Then it's tax planning. The more money that you make, guess what? The more the IRS wants to take from you. So it's figuring out your allocation from a tax perspective. Is there strategies that you can be thinking about as you're receiving that paycheck or income or dividends or interest from the overall investment portfolio to make sure that you can save as much money in taxes? Now you got to think of an estate plan, powers of attorney, healthcare directives, right, beneficiary forms and things like that. You have kids, you have a spouse, so things get a little bit more complex, so you just have to up your game a little bit more when you get a little older.
Well, you do. And when it comes to estate planning, so that's setting up a trust or a will, certainly the power of attorneys, financial power of attorneys, healthcare directives, power of attorneys, very, very important. No one wants to think about this, but you have to. You've got a spouse, right? You've got kids. You've got beneficiaries. You want to make sure they're taken care of.
All right, we got to take another break. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on that special offer this week, folks. Our retirement readiness guide. Are you ready for retirement? Figure it out. Yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Click on the special offer. When we get back, we're going to get into our 50s.
Do you know right now how likely you are to run out of money in retirement? There's an easy way to find out. It's also free. Go to easyretirement.com.